Welcome everyone back to the Seraphim Serenades or Serenade, where primarily my guide Kazaya speaks about humanity and spirituality, and now he's doing a series talking about the planets of our solar system as well as our evolving sun and evolving conditions that we're all going through. So, also, another being that requested to channel is the wisdom of my little lapis skull. His name is Luxor, as in the Luxor temple in Egypt, the Temple of Light. Um, he'll be speaking as he requested to. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Troy J. Bacon, and I'm a Reiki master, and I'll be teaching Reiki very soon. I'll announce when that will be launched. Otherwise, I do quantum hypnotherapy and Reiki healing sessions, which also include a lot of shadow work, clearing of ancestral wounds and trauma, and overall just spiritual or etheric engineering of your life, engineering to support your mind and soul and overall wellness. So you can find me at newbeinghypnosis.com. That will be linked up in the description box, as well as we can do private sessions with Kazaya, healing reading sessions. Feel free to reach out to me via the contact feature at newbeinghypnosis.com or on Facebook, which I'll link up in the description box too. Let's get into it. So I'll start with a channeling from Luxor, and here's some things to share. Ah, how lovely it is to be able to speak through my human companion and to be able to share much wisdom and grace with humanity. As Troy has shared, my name is Luxor, and I am a skull of great wisdom and light, as I am made of the stone you call lapis lazuli. And I wish to speak to the human collective at this time, sharing wisdom about the collective. As I am made of lapis lazuli, it is my nature to be connected to the earth, the ethers, and the collective. And Troy and his other human companion has received messages from me in the past about the earth. So my message today is relatively simple, and I hope that everyone will be able to understand and receive it well. It has been a condition for some time, and in my awareness, that the human collective, of course, is very diverse, and within the consciousness of the collective and what I would call the spiritual ecosystems, there's a great deal of collective turmoil, as you would call it. Troy has become aware that there is around 20 to 30% of the human collective at this time that is relatively spiritual awakened and actually interacting with the light, the lighter parts of the other side. But most still are unaware, unfortunately. Even those who are claiming to be on uh, a spiritual path, especially a relatively new journey of that sort. However, to be truly spiritual, you must be able to understand the workings of the mind and the soul and dynamics and beings and energies that are much greater and very much beyond the human soul, mind, and as you call it, ego, and personality. Yes, crystals and beautiful stones contain and refract and transmit and can be worked with great spiritual energies. But simply owning them is not a spiritual practice by itself. There must be interaction with non-physical, non-dense energies. And this can be a segue into what I want to share about the collective and especially spiritual ecosystems and how you, as humans, and as you would understand it, incarnated beings, interact with them. And as you are such, there is, of course, a great spiritual and high energy nature to your actual soul and being. And we wish to raise awareness of the ways that the human mind and human emotions and behaviors do affect and interact with spiritual ecosystems. Some beings in such ecosystems, you would call them very benevolent and friendly, while just as creatures on your earth, some are not so much, and some will take advantage of and prey on vulnerable energies and individuals. So, what we wish to ask is that everyone ask themselves every day that how am I interacting with spiritual ecosystems? How can I imagine or understand that my thoughts, my intentions, my emotions, and my behaviors do interact with, feed, repel, or attract like spiritual beings to me and away from me and around me? What am I actually doing with my thoughts and emotions and energy? And is that close to being respectful or sacred or far from it? My name is Luxor, and I am a simple being of wisdom. Emotions in these human bodies can also be so distracting. Please take care and rest. Hmm. Well, that was interesting, kind of enlightening and beautiful. Um, take a drink of water now. Bring Kazaya in. Oh, what an honor it is to be able to speak with humanity again in this fashion. For those listening now and later, even though there's a relatively small audience listening live today, there's great impact on many others who will listen to this later as we grow, and there is presence of the energy of growth. You may call me by the name of Kazaya, and I'm a Seraphim entity. And as I have been, I would like to discuss again the nature and energies of planets in your solar system, especially relating to evolving energies right now, and in relation and some focus on what you call your moon. There's so many perspectives of the moon. We're quite baffled why there are communities that are seeing the sphere of this moon through the lens of being an illusion. Yes, this is a playtrix, a playful matrix in which you get to play in, but in some ways what you see is what you get. Conversely, how you see it is what you get. So we also advise to be careful with how you choose to fashion the perspective of your reality, as well as we advise everyone to continuously be careful and very intentional about how you allow perhaps the influences of others and other sources to affect your perspective of your reality, as you would call it. Take everything with a grain of salt, but remember what holds water and can be as hard as stone. So bringing attention back to the planetary body you call your moon, many already know that this spherical body is older than the planet it orbits, and many know also that there are practically no other spherical moons in our solar system, and uh, most others don't have this either. However, few do. Few other solar systems have such moons, but that is a different conversation. What's unique about this moon, that is a singular spherical moon orbiting this planet, is that most other planets in our solar system have multiple moons, especially the ones that are pieces of asteroids and other materials, most of which have been caught in their orbit from one source or another. And yes, just as such an old planetary body, as you can expect from such an old planetary body, this moon has seen much history of many kinds in its past. There are nearly as many groups and beings and races that have tried to claim it or have settled on it or even in it, as there have been cultures and civilizations that have risen and fallen on the planet Earth. And as such a diverse planetary body, really such diverse planetary bodies, they belong together and can energetically relate to each other in the way that Earth is a very rare and beautiful biodiverse planet. The moon also has had a diverse history and has collected much diverse energy that can be also a way of unifying many groups and civilizations in such a way it is appropriate that the moon, just as is seen by every person and culture on Earth, is you could describe it as a feminine energy, a a calming and soothing energy that refra refracts and reflects the sun's light at night in such a beautiful white energy. And having such welcoming energy, it can also be spiritually appropriate that it has the gravity in its precise gravitational orbital position and size to be able to move the tides on Earth, the life-giving oceans, life-giving waters and forces within every water-based being on Earth. And yes, it does have density within it to have such significant gravity. However, we can say that this moon also is not completely solid inside. It does have open spaces. So just as the moon is a unifying and integrative spherical body of its own with such energy that can bring beings together and maintain peace, it is appropriate and safe to be able to, as some cast your intentions and wishes on it, as well as connect with its unifying energy in such a way. Also, this can assist with further, perhaps, empowerment of your effects of creations of your energy and mind and spirit. And as this is a group interaction, we see it appropriate to open up to any questions from the current group.
Thank you. Since we had the skull come in and speak, can I ask how the moon, or does the moon work with the crystal energy?
Yes, this is this is true that the moon's energy can interact with crystal energies, especially when focused. And we can say that as its gravity field can move the tides and waters of the planet. It does not, of course, move water unless there is such water in minerals, but as minerals are so dense and crystals are have such dense but also particular structures and can posture your intention and energies, just as humans, as such great conductive vessels, can cast your intentions and consciousness and energy outside of you and also connect with other elements, including the moon. As you develop a practice and develop greater perhaps control and sense of being able to move your energy through crystals, it helps to especially hold crystals when you're focusing this energy toward the moon to amplify such energy, especially positive energies that you're cultivating. And the moon does, especially when it's near its full period, as you call it, it does reflect energies back to you better.
Thank you. Working with the moon energy, is there any specific crystals that might work a little bit better?
Yes, we do see that, especially crystals in the white and clear color spectrums do relate to the color, the energy of the moon better than some other more perhaps opaque and colored crystals. Some that can be energetically linked to the moon better are common crystals such as selenite, white moonstone, white quartz crystals, which are quite common, clear quartz crystals, especially if they have a little bit of white in them. Even white howlite is another common one that can be linked to the moon. Um, some other crystals that especially are harmonious with moon energy are crystals with more feminine as well as integrative and unifying crystal energies. Pink rose quartz is one, rhodonite and rhodochrosite, chrysocolla, especially activated and highly energetically active quartz crystals relate to the white, luminous, and full moon's energy best.
Thank you. Is there any advice on how to activate our crystals?
Yes, there are of course many books and sources on earth that teach about this, some ancient traditions too. And of course, many of them will teach similar methods. One of the best ones is sound frequencies, especially some of the higher frequency sounds and pure, benevolent, and unifying intentions, as crystals are a creations of the earth, and similar energies, of course, relate to them better. As for activating, sound and light do that, especially when they're illuminated with white and lighter colors of light, sometimes paired with metals such as copper, silver, and gold, can help activating some of the more electrical and magnetic energies in them, especially with physical contact. They're one of the great ways also to activate crystals, especially quartz type crystals, is holding them in the hands and holding them near your heart, as the heart sphere is a very potent source of electromagnetic and spiritual energy from the human. Human energy too is generally especially purified and balanced human energy is powerful and interacting with and activating crystals, especially when such interactions include the wisdom and light and energies of angels and fairies and higher dimensional spiritual beings that can bring in great healing energies.
Thank you. And then the crystal skull that Troy was working with was a lapis lazuli. Is there more information about that particular crystal or the makeup of that one, since it does contain the pyrite within it?
Yes, this is, as it has been in tradition and in nature, a stone that resonates with great philosophy and wisdom. And as its color especially relates to healing and soothing the mind, it it is a great stone, especially being opaque if you are a healer and wise person and philosopher to be able to hold and wear. Some may find it difficult to hold and wear it all the time, so sometimes short durations can be recommended. It does help to ground and clarify the mind. With the pyrite, it especially has a grounding energy as well as helping especially sensitives and wise ones and mediums to be able to tap into truth and wisdom, sometimes channeling, and also just as this skull does and has done, it helps sensitive people to become more aware, especially at times in meditation, of specific information and needed information about the earth, about especially the energy of the earth and the collective, sometimes other cosmic energies. It's a stone that is best for people who are already resonant with interpersonal energies and especially spiritual healing knowledge and energies.
Thank you. And can I ask about the different types of like meteorites? Is there any information you want to give about that, like moldavite, or there's another one, I think it's Libyan desert glass. It's another type of like moldavite meteorite type of crystal.
Yes, these are very lovely crystalline forms. And just as is the nature of crystals, especially the more translucent ones, contain and record the energy of where they're from and also some of how they're treated and worked with. These crystals, especially with minerals and crystalline forms that originated outside of your Earth's magnetosphere, these crystals do hold memory and information from perhaps the places and areas of space they came from and traveled through. And this energy generally, as many already know, does open up some and bring great healing, especially to, as you term them, old souls and light workers, star seeds. So, similar to the lapis lazuli stone, stones such as moldavite and Libyan desert glass and other meteorites, especially the crystalline ones, are recommended primarily for use and wear of such old souls and star seeds. Some are highly sensitive and have trouble wearing them all the time. Some can stay grounded while wearing them. Moldavite, as it is also a green translucent crystal and typically does not have a set specific crystalline structure. It's also a stone of true awakening and transformation for especially the heart sphere, as well as higher chakras and human energy. And it is just as other translucent meteorite crystals, it is recommended for those who are ready for greater lessons and levels of spiritual awakening and evolution.
Thank you. Can I ask a more personal question?
Yes.
I had a dream about some crystals and malas last week, and it came to pass that a friend decided to start working with some and gifting me a mala. Is there any significance or a certain message that I'm supposed to be aware of with that, please?
Yes, we see that you're already versed in the wisdom of how to use malas and that you're familiar with them. And so, just as dreams are, of course, typically very personal, you experienced that dream, and some of it was also given to you to interpret the symbolism, the energy of that dream, how it speaks to you, and also perhaps meditate on that and the benefits of using malas, especially not just as they are crystals and other materials, but the more metaphysical thought and energies that you can tap into and cultivate with them while using them and wearing them. Also, that particular mala that is being gifted to you, just as it is being put together and customized by such an angelic soul, it is appropriate to be sort of a conduit and gift and transition, having the trouble finding the words for it, but to be also imprinted and activated by such angel energy to help you perhaps better tune into and maintain and develop your connection with the angelic energy.
Thank you. Um, on a mala, it has 108 beads. Is there any significance with that, as opposed to working with like a bracelet or any other just general crystal?
Yes, and just as we have spoken about, and Troy's lapis skull companion, there's great value in paying attention to metaphysical energies more than just what's coming from the physical. And we can speak to the numbers of such a mala that the number 108, as you already know, does reduce down to the number 9, which is the attainment of alchemy and or enlightenment. And number 108 also is 4 times 27, and 27 is also a prime number that simplifies also down to 9. So the number, if you want to put that together, the number 99 is one of the most, has access to anyway, the most perhaps ironclad as well as firm and effective kind of transformational and spiritual energies of alchemy, attainment, of mastery. It's a number that has access to the keys to some of the higher levels of dimensions and thought as well.
Thank you. Is that something that we should be meditating on, the number 99?
Yes, that can certainly help as you do so and tune into what you feel around that number. Perhaps ask for the energy of that number 99 to help you. We can also say that there are 99 distinct energy circuits, channels anyway, within the energetic circuitry of the human body. Yes, meditating on the number 99 can and will help you and will likely help you open up and develop further.
Thank you. And then I wanted to ask about the shape of the crystal. Um, the one that he was talking with earlier, it was in the shape of a skull. Um, is that something that we should be aware of, the shape that we have formed our crystals into? Should they be more geometric or natural, or any wisdom on that, please?
Yes, certainly. And this is one of the reasons why there are some specific shapes that are common and created and used within the crystal carving, as you call it, market and culture of Earth. And what we can say about the shape of a skull, as it is especially formed into a crystal, is that this is a very, very ancient shape, especially to carve crystals into. It even transcends advanced cultures on Earth. And the crystal skulls were brought here actually by numerous groups over time as gifts to Earth. And some of the significance of the shape of a skull, especially as a crystal, is not only psychological, but there is a real metaphysical attribute to that form. Just as crystals are their own type of living being with their own consciousness, the skull represents and connects to the energy and the consciousness of the human being, just as yes, there's great energy and can be great development and wisdom, perhaps in the human heart sphere and other parts of the energy body. There is amazing potential, especially within the human mind and brain. And part of true spiritual evolution, not just experience and learning of the soul, but evolution also requires development and wholeness and clarity within the human brain and mind. And there are perhaps multiple traditional and types of descriptions of why crystals are formed into skulls in different cultures on Earth. But primarily, the origin of this and the purpose of this with other interstellar human type people too is that, of course, more of the quartz type crystal skulls can be record keepers and have been, but it really originally represents the ability and the nature of human consciousness, awareness, memory, as well as the abilities of the human brain and mental chakras to be able to access and interact with the spiritual and metaphysical planes and other dimensions as well, perhaps. That is the original purpose of the skull form in crystals that we can talk about.
Thank you so much for this wisdom. We're almost at an hour. Didn't know if there was something Kazaya would like to say at this time, or I didn't have any more questions.
Yes, just as recommended by Troy's Skull Companion, as well as what we would teach, there is great benefit and wisdom in just keeping your conscious awareness tuned in every day to asking yourself questions and becoming aware of your thoughts. Your emotions, especially, can be quite distracting and sometimes interfering with how you interact with the world and spiritual energies. So, what we recommend is to to become aware of that, to do the, as you call it, shadow work, healing work of smoothing over, healing, focusing unconditional love and appropriate healing energies to your thought patterns, especially as they relate to the habits, karma, and thought patterns that you inherited from your ancestors, especially the more dense ones that can get in the way of you achieving and embodying some of your greatest potentials on earth as you continue to work out your soul agreements, destiny, and spiritual playtime and spiritual play, call it play work or playfulness on earth. This is perhaps the most important, one of the most important keys, gateways to spiritual development. And as always, we also advise to keep your focus on the light, the lighter parts of life. Keep your focus on your spiritual light, your circle of light of yourself, as well as your circles of light with others. Go out, create beauty in your life, play with beauty and bright potentials in your life, and always remember and trust that the love of God and the angels and the light is with you. The source is with you, and all is well. That was lovely and beautiful. Thank you, Heather.
You're very welcome.